Chris here with another wonderful thing about making games, this time in particular from the programming side. And that is that when we're doing technical things with a computer, with a machine, we can so easily and freely constantly test and try out the problem to see if it's working yet. People who've only ever done coding maybe take this for granted, but this is obviously in such stark contrast to so many other creative or soft disciplines. Not soft as easy, but soft as in there's a range that if you're trying to write poetry, you're trying to compose music, you're trying to write a speech, you're trying to paint a picture, you're trying to do an animation, there you really need constant feedback, corrective course correction feedback from someone who really understands the techniques to make it work at all. But from the engineering perspective, as a coder, as a programmer, once you've already made up your mind that this is what I want it to do, this is the desired behavior I need to achieve from this machine, then there's no limit on your freedom and flexibility and largely self-guided exploration of tinkering, of trying a thing and seeing if it works. People sometimes joke about that this is not a great approach to engineering in general, and granted, it's not how we should build buildings or build bridges. But for game development projects, for people's earliest exposure and experiences with programming, for people just trying to make something creative that does a certain thing and has a certain effect, it's a great space to be able to explore, precisely because we can do it with so little guidance. Precisely because we can self-correct so much, or rather between the machine giving constant feedback of there's an error in the code, or in being able to display and check the behavior. Even purely in the digital space as opposed to physical space where the machine doesn't, the parts don't wear down. We don't have to replace the materials. The pieces don't snap and break. We're not at worry of frying the electronics as we might with a physical piece of hardware. When we're writing a game, we can constantly tinker and test and see, and that's part of what's great about making games.